So in this session of the course, we are going to be setting up our development environment for our Jarvis AI assistant. So for that, we need two pieces of software. First one is Python and another one is the VS Code IDE. So you can download this Python from the resources section of this video. So after that, you just need to click on download, and after downloading, you just need to install it onto your system. And this VS Code ID, you can get it from the link which will be available in the description of this video. So you can just click on that description link and it will take you to this website, which is the VS Code website. So after downloading these both pieces of software, we just need to click first of all we need to install the Python, and the Python version is 3.6.2 because this version works better with this AI assistant, and it supports all the packages that are required. Some of the packages are not supported by the latest version of Python, and it creates a lot of error. So to avoid that, we are going to be using this Python version 3.6.2, and we're going to be installing it. So I will double click on it and it will start the installer first, and here we are going to be selecting this add Python 3.62 path. So keep in mind that you select this thing, otherwise you have to manually set the path by going into the environment variables. So to avoid that, you just need to select add Python 3.62 path, and after that we are going to be clicking on customize installation, and here we need to select everything. So here you can see all the things are selected by default, and we will click on next, and here we are going to be selecting for install for all users, and after that we are going to be clicking on install, and it will ask for the administrator permission. Then we will click on yes, and it will start installing this software, which is the Python IDE onto our system. So let this thing get installed, and after that we are going to be installing the VS Code IDE onto our system. So now this Python version is successfully installed onto our system. As you can see, setup was successful and it has installed onto our system. So now what we will do is we will just click on this close button, and after that, to check whether it is successfully installed or not, we will just click on here and we will type cmd, and in that cmd we will type Python. So it should open a Python interpreter here. So you can see that the Python interpreter is available now. So it means it has installed Python onto our system. So we will try to print something. So we will try to print hello, this is Jarvis, and if I hit enter, so it should print this thing. So as you can see that it is working. So it means it has installed Python successfully onto our system. So Python commands are working. So we will just type exit, and after that we are going to be installing the VS Code IDE onto our system. So for that we will just double click on this exe file after downloading, and we will click on next, and we will click on I accept the agreement, and we will click on next, and we will click on next again, and we will click on next, and again we will click on next, and it will ask us to add additional icons on desktop. So we will check this box and we will click on next, and we will hit on install, and it will start installing this piece of software onto your system. Once it is successfully installed, you should be able to see an option. Once the VS Code IDE is successfully installed, we can just right click, and you can see that there is an option of open with code. So I have already installed VS Code IDE onto my system, and if I right click in this folder and click on open with code, so it should open the VS Code IDE inside this folder. So as you guys can see, here's the VS Code IDE that it has opened. So after that, we need to install few pieces of software onto this. So we will click on this extension icon, and we're going to be typing here Python. So we are going to be installing the Python extension for VS Code IDE. So it will help us to, using this extension we can add a lot of features into it. So using that we can select the different versions of Python which we have installed onto our system, and it also shows a recommendation for the upcoming words and all that things. So there are a lot of features into this Python extension. So for me, I have already installed it. So if you will just search on the extension Python, so it will tell us to install, and you just need to click on install. It will take few minutes, and after that it will install onto your system. After that you just need to restart the IDE, and it should work now, and it should be installed onto your system successfully. Now after that we need to create a new file. So first of all we will click on a new file, and we will save this file with the name Jarvis 2.0.py, and after that we will just try to check whether the extension is successfully installed or not onto our system. So we will try to print something. We will type print, and in this print function we will type hello, this is Jarvis 2.0, and after that you can just try to select if you have different versions of Python. So you can just click on here and you can select different versions which you have already installed onto your system. So right now I have only one Python version installed onto my system, which is the Python version 3.6.2, which is a 64-bit. So if I install another version of Python, so I will be able to select from there. So here is a drop down menu for that. I will try to zoom in the screen, and you can see that here is our line of code which we have written. I will just try to save the code, and if I run the code, so it should print hello, this is Jarvis onto our terminal. So let's just try to run it. So as you guys can see, here is the output of our code. So it means we have successfully set up our development environment for the Jarvis AI assistant. So that was it for this section. If you are getting any kind of errors or issues while installing the Python or VS Code IDE onto your system, you can just drop your questions in the Q&A session. So I will try to answer it as soon as possible. So that was it for this session. Let's move to the next session of this course.